Hello, this is the final review for the final. You should have already downloaded some materials. Again, this sheet on learning materials explains what kinds of things will be on this take-home uh, final. I'll be emailing it to you, and you'll be able to use your book, and I even have references for you. That's just so generous. Some of it is just basic recall. I mean, like this item here, you just look in the book and you can find what the right answer is. Other items, especially these last three, tend to be very application oriented. Consequently, I gave you this sheet, and I want to give you some answers because these are the types of questions that will be used in these sections. And so I don't have review exercises for all of it, just the part where there's a lot of heavy application. Check your understanding, and I'll explain the answers. Number one, that is actually a case of induction. Remember, induction, we look at specific pieces of evidence and make a generalization. The way this is worded may have thrown you, but it is induction. I've looked at 6 games. I come to the conclusion basically they're losers. And that's why that would be induction. The way it's worded is a little strange, but it is induction. I think that's probably a harder question than the ones I put on the exam, but I just wanted to stretch you a bit. 2 is definitely deduction. We have a generalization. If you brush and floss daily, then you'll have fewer cavities. That's the generalization. We have a specific piece of evidence, that minor premise. She brushes and flosses, so she'll have fewer cavities. 3 is also a deductive. There is a generalization. It's a conditional statement. And then we have a specific piece of information and a conclusion here based on this information drawn from that generalization. 4 is deduction. I'm a better pool player than Corey is a generalization. It's deductive major premise. I'm playing him tomorrow. I'll likely win. That's based on that generalization. And that is deductive. Now, again, when it comes to induction and deduction, before you can have deduction, you have to have induction. How do I come to the generalization that I'm better than Corey? Well, there's specific evidence. I beat him all these times, and then I make the generalization I'm better. Once I know I'm better, deductively I can say, okay, I'm better than Corey. I'm going to play him more than likely. I'm going to beat him. 5 is a deductive argument. In fact, there's a conditional statement. It's a major premise, F, the condition, and then a consequent, condition that needs to be fulfilled and a consequent. If it goes below 40, you'll be forced to make serious budget compromises. That's not the case now, so you won't have to make those compromises. So that is deduction. I is induction. I mean, we've got billions of men. They've never gotten pregnant. And no, I'm not counting the people you may have read about who, had surgery and surrogates and all. I'm talking about regular, non-surgically augmented people. No man has ever gotten pregnant. Okay? That's just the way it is. 7 is inductive generalization. Most people are pro-life, at least the people I know. That's induction. I talked to all the people I know. Most of them are pro-life, so I conclude most people are pro-life. That's probably not good sampling. Getting back to some other concepts. 8 might be a little confusing to you. John's a heavy drinker. After all, he's Irish. You may not know that cliche, but the generalization is the Irish are heavy drinkers. We plug in under that the minor premise, John is Irish, and we conclude, perhaps unfairly, he's a heavy drinker. Here, we have to determine is it valid or invalid, and the first one is totally valid. That's V for valid. 2 is invalid. We have the conditional statement. If I'm in Alaska, then I'm in the U.S., I'm denying the antecedent. You weren't asked to give that, but I'm giving it to you. You're denying the antecedent. I'm not in Alaska, so I'm not in the U.S. That's just bad thinking, as you can tell. 3 is valid, and it's good advice, by the way. Stay off the roads if you've been imbibing. Don't hazard yourself and others. 4 is invalid. We have a conditional statement. If you major in psychology, the consequent, you must take psych. We're affirming the consequent, I must take psych, and drawing the erroneous, invalid conclusion that I must be a psychology major. 5 is valid. If someone is homeless, then they have only themselves to blame. It follows that he has only himself to blame since he is now homeless. That is valid. I'm not saying that it's true. It could be dead wrong, huh? But it's valid. Remember, validity is not the same thing as truth, and don't let that confuse you. 6, I've heard it said, join the Navy. By the way, 6 is just invalid. Let me backtrack. It's invalid, okay? The major premise would be this. If you want to see the world, that's the condition. Consequent, join the Navy. He's content to stay in the U.S. so he won't join the Navy. That is denying the antecedent, denying joining the Navy, and it's not good logic. Hey, you might join the Navy for other reasons. You might learn a career. You might want to serve your country. There might be other good reasons, by the way. Remember, valid arguments is just one good answer. Just one answer. That's what makes it valid. If there's more than one answer, it's not valid. 7, as stated, is valid. The only condition given is if I made good grades, condition, then I would have gotten to Stanford. I didn't get into Stanford, so I didn't make good grades. That actually happens sometimes. I know when I got into grad school, they told me, we love you, we want you in the program, we're your prime candidate. If you pass this graduate exam, kind of like the SAT, then you'll be in. And the condition was there. If I passed, I'm in. If I didn't, I wouldn't be. 8 is valid. And again, look at these questions. They're not all lined up. Okay, here's the major premise, minor premise, etc. You need to pull it out. What is the conditional generalization? What is the specific evidence? And what is the conclusion? And here it's all backwards. But this is the way it is often when these are stated in the real world. That's why it's stated this way. Okay? Here's the condition. If nothing significant is done about global warming, antecedent, consequent, hurricane season will grow worse. Specific data, information, minor premise, nothing significant is being done. Conclusion, hurricane season will continue to go worse. 9 is valid. You could put it this way. If a person's a Democrat, he or she's liberal. Hillary Clinton's a Democrat, she's liberal. That's completely logical. Okay. 10, if drug use is on the rise, then the war on drugs has failed. Consequently, the war on drugs has not failed because drug use is going down. That is invalid. And that's kind of argument is used a lot. Not only is it bad deduction, but we could be mistaking correlation and causation. That might be an inductive fallacy, but I'm going to confuse you. Within the statement, though, it's not valid. We have a condition. If it's on the rise, then the war on drugs has failed. We give this information. It hasn't failed because use is going down. It's denying the antecedent. We're denying this. Okay. 11 is a little weird, but it is valid. If he's quit school and Ann needs a new tennis partner, she doesn't need a new tennis partner, so Bob was not to quit school. It's valid. 12 is valid. It's a lot of implied there, okay? But a woman who's married wears a ring. That's a generalization. Jane is wearing a wedding ring, so she must be married, okay? 13 is invalid. Again, the conditional statement is a little buried. We think of it first. Major premise first with a condition. If minimum wage is waged, if minimum wage is raised, that's the condition. Consequently, it'll be harder to find a job. That's the major premise. They decided not to raise the wage, so it won't be harder to find a job. That is invalid. We're denying the antecedent if they raise the minimum wage. And 4, no one in this class is 60 or older. John is in this class, thus he's younger than 60. That's just totally valid and logical. And that's the application portion of the test sample for you. You'll need to do those kinds of things, plus the other information that's listed for you. Again, it's just 6 and 7. The specific pages are on the sheet. You need to know this. This exam, there's so much change. I just decided, why bother changing anything? I looked over the exam I gave last semester, and it fits exactly what we're doing here. And so I didn't change. But I have a good database, and I didn't change the other one either, partly because like I said, I'm kind of at the end of the road here. It's kind of hard to get motivated to change. They forced me to change this semester, man. I made like 45 videos or something crazy. I've never done that. I should mention this. I am an international YouTube star. I don't know why, but I have some people following me from other countries who are watching these videos. Why they would do that, I have no idea. But this is getting back to the real meat of the material. The exam I gave last semester is the same one you have here. You're going to do an open book, which might make it even better. It was a pretty fair exam then. I had a range of scores though. Just giving you a heads up. I had a very low score of 23 out of 50. I gave that person a 46%. I also had one person who managed to earn a 49 out of 50, which would be a 98%. They had scores that were a little skewed, and I decided I gave a few points to that one particular person. Actually, I think wound up with a 102, with, I think it was a 51. I wound up rounding there. So that's the nature of the exam. Don't blow it off, but remember, it's multiple choice. And in multiple choice exams here and everywhere else, make sure you read all the answers and consider carefully. You're not looking for the right answer. You're looking for the best answer. So yeah, that's it. That's all. There'll be other information you'll be getting via PSAs. And I believe this is the last video I'll be posting. So check your PSAs, which may or may not have a video. And good luck on the exam and all the other things that you might be having to deal with right now. I hope you stay well, stay healthy, stay out of trouble. God bless you.